The Azerbaijan Grand Prix is one of the most exciting races in the average F1 season. It's held in Baku, the country's capital. Baku is one of 5 street circuits now on the F1 calendar, although, unlike Monaco, it is a big circuit with long, high-speed straights. The course stretches along the seafront before going inland and looping around Baku's 12th century fortified old city before returning to the home straight. The circuit initially hosted the European Grand Prix in 2016 before becoming the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in 2017. 5 different victors have emerged from Baku's 5 Formula 1 races. Nico Rosberg won the 2016 European Grand Prix, while Daniel Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Sergio Perez all won in Azerbaijan. The Baku city circuit is one of the newer races on the schedule, but it has rapidly become one of the most popular among drivers. The high-speed street circuits in Baku are one of the few in this style, and they compete with Monaco. However, drivers would claim that this is the superior driving track because of the greater amount of overtaking possibilities. The track is one of the longest available to drivers, with only Spa in Belgium being longer than the 6.003km track on offer today. It also boasts one of the longest straights, with the cars able to reach top speeds of over 360km per hour, one of the highest in any circuit. While ideas were initially put up to attempt and develop a stadium course somewhere outside the city, the street race was regarded to be a brilliant idea and required a lot less in terms of initial upfront cost for the host course. They were able to bring on board legendary F1 track designer Herman Tilke to assist with the layout, with a brief saying, "Like Monaco, but better." Prior to the first European Grand Prix, which Baku held in 2016, the GP2 series suffered a slew of collisions, with more than half of the field retiring. Both the organisers and the racers were anxious, but the F1 race saw just 4 retirements, all of which were due to mechanical difficulties. In the race, which was filled with exciting overtaking maneuvers, Nico Rosberg came out on top, beating German Sebastian Vettel, who finished second. That 2016 Formula 1 race was famous primarily for radio transmissions from Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton, who proposed to his pit crew that if something went wrong with the steering wheel, he would just click every button and see what happened. Mercedes advised Hamilton not to do so, and as we all know, teammate Nico Rosberg won the race. Things got even more exciting when F1 returned for the first official Azerbaijan Grand Prix in 2017. After struggling to keep up the pace with Hamilton on the first safety car restart, Sebastian Vettel was attempting to stay as close to the Mercedes gearbox in front as possible. Vettel accelerated quickly, thinking Hamilton had started the restart procedure, and collided with the rear of Hamilton's car. Vettel claimed Hamilton brake-checked him and expressed his displeasure by driving alongside Hamilton and steering into the side of the Mercedes. The stewards ruled that this was a deliberate attack, and the German received a 10-second stop-go penalty. Normally, this would have ensured Hamilton's victory. The red flag was displayed to clear debris from multiple crashes, and it did become clear shortly after the race resumed that Hamilton's headrest had not been correctly put back into the car. Hamilton tried to drag the rest of the field back into place on the long straights, but it just was not enough, and he was obliged to pit. It was a stop of comparable duration as Vettel's penalty, and his prospect of winning went up in smoke. Daniel Ricciardo had pitted early to clean debris from his brake duct and was now in command. The Australian had the race in his hands after passing both Williams cars into the first corner of the restart. Ricciardo never lost control of the race and went on to win, while Valtteri Bottas, who had been a lap down after puncturing a tyre on lap 1, overhauled Lance Stroll for second position on the home straight right after using the DRS. Then there was the Force India rivalry on the track, Haas Kevin Magnussen's stunning passing moves, and all of the crashes. During this one, a lot of carbon fiber was lost. The 2018 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the 4th round of the season, was won by Lewis Hamilton, who finally tasted the sweetness of victory on the circuit on April 29, 2018. The 2019 Azerbaijan Grand Prix was hosted in April the next year as the season's 4th round with Valtteri Bottas as the winner, while the 2020 race was postponed in March 2020 owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, ultimately being cancelled later that year. The 2021 Azerbaijan Grand Prix was the season's 6th round. Sergio Perez clinched victory after a very heated race, bringing one more win home for Red Bull in the challenging circuit. No Formula One driver has ever won Baku twice, while Mercedes and Red Bull have both won the race twice. Mercedes seized victory in 2018 and 2019, while Red Bull showed their competence on the circuit in 2017 and 2021. The first thing to make note about this track is that it's incredibly narrow in several spots, and extremely harsh if drivers make mistakes within or going out of corners. However, this is essentially part of the subtleties of the circuit, and most drivers actually enjoyed the challenge. The circuit was first used for the 2016 European Grand Prix, but it was renamed the Azerbaijan Grand Prix the following year, and has remained that way ever since. The race begins with a run down the long pitch straight to their first corner. The bend has a large braking zone, which is difficult for the drivers as they descend from roughly 360 km per hour down to only 150. They'll need to escape as near to the wall as possible in order to obtain the best potential run into turn 2, which is another 90-degree turn. The track then includes a long straight down to turn 3, which is one of the track's DRS zones, and a popular spot for drivers to try to overtake if the conditions are favourable. Turn 4 is another 90-degree turn that the vehicles can handle before reaching the finish line. The run down to turn 7 is entirely dependent on how the drivers have previously navigated the sharp double bend. A smooth run helps them to get the power on fast, whereas a mistake, which is usual in that tight sector, might actually cost them time and places as they approach turn 7. The second segment of the circuit, the most complicated, runs around the city's castle. The S-bends that run through the old town and up into the city need drivers to be particularly committed in this section, because they are frequently centimeters from the wall on both sides. Just one minor mistake here and the race is over. In fact, more frequently than not, one sort of accident or the other will actually occur here during the race weekend. Turns 12, 13 and 14 are all highly quick turns that can be taken at full speed in ideal situations and conditions. Drivers frequently configure their vehicles to be the most successful here because this is where a lot of the time can be made or wasted. Drivers then return down the hill, hugging the wall and entering turn 15 before tackling the last corner in a tight turn 16. A solid exit here is crucial, and while the kinks are marked as turns 17 and 18, drivers can actually take them straight on. It takes enormous guts to do so though, and it's where races are won and lost due to the speeds at which the vehicles are travelling at this point. With DRS enabled, drivers are frequently bouncing over the RPM limitations as they approach the finish line, reaching speeds of 360 km and higher. This is what gets the fans' blood pumping. Who doesn't love to see a high-octane race to the death? It is a favourite amongst fans, Formula One teams, and especially the drivers. No doubt it will continue to produce some exciting races in the coming years. What are the reasons why you love the Azerbaijan Grand Prix? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.